In Okpella, whispers travel faster than Hamatan wind. And lately, those whispers all carried one name, Aisosa. They said she couldn't stop dating married men. They called her reckless, a home wrecker, a girl without shame. But nobody ever asked why. Nobody wondered what broke inside her or what she was searching for in the arms of men who could never truly be hers. Because sometimes people don't fall into sin, they slip into it quietly. After too many heartbreaks, too many disappointments, and too little love. This is the story of Aisosa, the girl whose heart became a battlefield between loneliness and survival. In the quiet village of Okpella, a young girl named Aisosa lived with her mother Akhigbe and her younger brother Osayamen. Their father Efe had died when they were still children, leaving Akhigbe, their mother, to struggle alone to provide for them. Life was harsh, and every day was a challenge. Their small compound with a modest clay house and a tiny garden barely provided enough for them. Yet Akhigbe worked tirelessly, waking before dawn to cook, sweep, and prepare the small buka she ran to sell food to villagers. Despite the hardships, she raised her children with love, discipline, and the fear of God, instilling in them the values she believed would guide them through life. Aisosa often helped her mother in the buka, serving food to the few customers who came daily, learning the ways of patience and hard work. She watched Osayamen play nearby, his laughter sometimes masking the worry she felt deep in her heart. Every night, they prayed together in their compound, asking God for protection and provision, hoping for a better days. One fateful day, Akhigbe fell gravely ill. What started as weakness quickly turned into a severe sickness that left her bedridden and hospitalized. The doctors in Okpella Health Center were firm. She needed immediate treatment, and the cost was far beyond what the family could afford. Panic consumed Aisosa. She ran from neighbor to neighbor pleading for help, but no one had the amount required. The burden of desperation weighed heavily on her young shoulders. She prayed, she cried, and felt helpless, fearing she might lose her mother. In her desperation, Aisosa suddenly remembered Chief Osagie, a regular customer at her mother's buka. He was a wealthy business mogul from Benin City who often visited his village branch in Okpella. She remembered how he always smiled when he ate her mother's food, and how kind he seemed, and how his presence had always brought a spark of hope. With a racing heart, she ran to Chief Osagie's office in Okpella, clutching her shawl tightly. When she arrived, Chief Osagie greeted her warmly but asked with mild concern why Akhigbe, her mother, no longer came out to sell food. Aisosa explained everything: her mother's illness, the hospital bills, and how desperate they were. Chief Osagie listened quietly, nodding, and told her to meet him at Oredo fast food restaurant in the village the next day. Relief and hope flooded Aisosa's heart. She ran back to the hospital and told her mother Akhigbe. And for the first time in days, they felt a flicker of hope amid the darkness. The following day, Aisosa went to the fast food restaurant as instructed. Her stomach churned with nervousness as she scanned the place for Chief Osagie. After she sat and ate, Chief Osagie invited her to a hotel room. Aisosa's heart pounded with fear and hesitation. He tried to coerce her into sleeping with him, but she resisted. Gathering all her courage to run back to Okpella Health Center, shaking, she told her mother that he had asked them to be patient and wait for some time, carefully omitting the truth of what had almost happened. Weeks passed and Aisosa watched her mother's condition deteriorate further. Her heart ached at the thought of losing her mother, who had given her life and love. Desperation overcame her fear, and she returned to Chief Osagie, reluctantly agreeing to his terms. After sleeping with him, he handed her over the money she needed. She immediately ran to the hospital, deposited part of the money for her mother's treatment, and kept the rest for herself. Their prayers and tears were answered as Akhigbe, her mother, gradually recovered. Grateful and relieved, she went and thanked Chief Osagie for his generosity, completely unaware of the price her daughter had paid. What no one knew was that Chief Osagie's wife, Mrs. Idia Osagie, who lived permanently in Benin City with their 4 children, was fully aware of her husband's womanizing ways. For years, Mrs. Idia Osagie had endured humiliation, whispers from friends, strange calls at night, and even gifts arriving at her doorstep from women she didn't know. Each time she confronted her husband, he would laugh it off, saying, "You are worrying yourself over nothing, Idia," giving flimsy excuses. But deep down, Mrs. Idia Osagie knew she had once been a beautiful woman, full of life and pride. But Chief Osagie's betrayal drained her spirit. The breaking point came when she caught her husband in a disturbing position with his Benin branch secretary. That night she wept bitterly, not just from pain, but from rage. This was a young girl who presented herself as a family friend. She often visited, and Mrs. Osagie hosted her well, not knowing she's part of her problem. In her anguish, Idia went to visit Mama Edewo, an old traditional priestess living on the outskirts of Benin. The old woman listened silently as Mrs. Osagie poured out her pain. Then she said in a chilling voice, "What do you want?" Pained by the secretary's betrayal, despite Mrs. Osagie's goodness towards her, Mrs. Osagie agreed to a ritual that would torment any young girl who willingly laid with her husband. The priestess gave her a small gourd sealed with red thread and cowries and told her to bury it behind their home before dawn. This curse began to affect Aisosa. She developed an intense hatred for young men, chasing them away whenever they approached her, even those who came for marriage. Strangely, she kept dating married men, unable to control her desires or instincts. Akhigbe, her mother, was devastated, mourning the loss of the innocent girl she had raised. She prayed constantly for her daughter, wondering where this strange behavior had come from, crying over the daughter who was once full of hope and virtue. The village that once knew Aisosa as obedient and kind now whispered about her strange ways. But no one could help her. Only God could, and Akhigbe, her mother, held tightly to that hope, refusing to give up on her daughter, Aisosa. And that was just the beginning of Aisosa's strange journey. What lies ahead for her will leave you speechless. Stay tuned for part 2 because this story is far from over. Meanwhile, my people, abeg don't just watch and waka pass o. Hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and join our growing community of storytellers. More interesting and mind-blowing African folktales are awaiting for you, only on Tales by Blessed AB. Thank you. Bye.